Patricia Clark, and I'll be giving you a presentation today about Friedrich Froebel. Friedrich Froebel was born in April 21st, 1718 and was a German educator and true pioneer for early childhood education. He established a new type of school for 3 to 4-year-old children, and in 1837 it was called a child's garden and famously coined kindergarten. Prior to that, there had been no educational training for children under the age of 7, and as there was no recognition that young children were capable of learning social and intellectual skills. Froebel had a difficult childhood. His mother passed away when he was a baby, and his father, a pastor, left him mostly to his own devices. He grew up with the love of nature and a strong Christian faith, both of which were central to thinking of educationalists. Froebel came into teaching via a school run by Herr Gruner, a student of Pestalozzi, and within a few years moved to Yerevan to study under Pezzati himself. Pestalozzi saw children having an innate desire to learn, and he believed that children needed to be active in their own learning. Friedrich Froebel was an observer of nature and humanity, and he was a very spiritual man, and although he was inspired by Pestalozzi's approach, he felt that it lacked spiritual mechanisms, which he believed were the fundamental of early learning. His approach of education drew from his love of nature and these sources. Play was the core of his curriculum. Froebel proposed that play was a necessary element in education. It was not idle behaviour, but a biological skill to discover how things work. After several teaching positions in Germany and Switzerland, in 1837 Froebel returned to Germany, opening a care, playing and activity institute for small children, and dedicated himself to preschool and child education. In 1814 he renamed the institute, as it's so well known today, as kindergarten. Within the Froebelian classroom there are 3 main teaching methods: the use of gifts and occupations for creativity, singing of song, dancing and games for healthy activity and nurturing, and observing plants for motivating awareness of the natural world. Froebel's gifts consisted of a series of specifically designed objects which would provide children with play, but at the same time training them in the nature of form, numbers, measurement. The occupations were a set of activities which helped the children to develop practical skills and modelling of clay paper, folding, cutting, weaving, drawing, painting and sewing. The teacher within the classrooms were guides to the children, to lead the children to understand, not be the keepers of knowledge. Although Froebel's practices were based on free play, the classrooms were a very structured environment, where activities were very carefully prepared with tools, activities and materials that were optimal for the children's development. Froebel also was a large advocate of training young women as teachers. He believed that because of their strong maternal instincts, and the young women, when trained for the work, made them the best teachers of young children. He was often regarded as a madman among his peers, for his passion for education of young children and training of women teachers were both unprecedented ideas of his era. His kindergarten attracted widespread interest, and other kindergartens opened across Germany. Unfortunately, a confusion of the socialist views of Froebel's nephew, the Prussian government banned kindergarten movement across Germany. The ban was not removed until 1960, 8 years after Froebel's death. During this time, however, Froebel's followers such as Baroness Bertha von Metterhaber-Behu, Bertha Meyer and her younger sister Margarete Meyer-Schultz, and Elizabeth Peabody spread Froebel's kindergartens across Europe, England, and as far-reaching as America. How did Friedrich Froebel's work relevant to education in Australia today? Today, nearly every primary school in Australia has a kindergarten where the curriculum still involves the idea of learning through play. Group games, goal-orientated activities, the use of music and songs, the nature of play, and these are all strong things of Froebelian's educational pedagogies. Froebel's gifts and occupations are still present in the current Australian kindergarten classroom. For example, we consider block play a basic learning activity in early childhood education today, and this is Froebel who introduced the use of blocks through his scale of gifts between 3 and 7. You can also see that within the current curriculum, Froebel's occupations such as paper, folding, cutting, painting and clay moulding. Why is Friedrich Froebel significant to me as a future teacher? I find that Friedrich Froebel an inspiring man and educator. As a teacher, my goal is to work in early childhood education to provide the youngest version of us the support and guidance in the early stages of their child development. Froebel worked his entire life in the pursuit of creating an educational system that would support young children and give them every opportunity to be exposed to learning that would set them up for later regimented educational journey. He understood that young children learnt best not through straight direction but through play and experience. Froebel laid the foundation for the educators that followed him, establishing the early childhood education system and what is still known today as the kindergarten. And although changed over the years, there are still large portions of his work that you can still see in the classrooms today. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation.